The metal research station was quiet at first, but then a strange alarm echoed through the empty halls. Red lights began to blink like warning eyes. Everyone ran toward the shelters, but one person did not follow. Narina Hale, the small human girl with big round glasses and a messy ponytail, stayed behind. She worked as a repair assistant, and she was used to strange noises. But this sound was different. It was soft, like something dragging across the floor, and it came from the old cargo bay that no one visited anymore. She walked slowly through the hallway. The lights flickered above her, making long shadows move across the walls. Her hands were shaking a little, but she kept moving. She was curious, and her curiosity was always stronger than her fear. When she reached the cargo bay door, she heard a weak whining sound from inside. It made her stop. It did not sound like a machine. It sounded alive. Narina took a deep breath and pressed the door panel. The heavy metal door slid open with a loud hiss. Cold air rushed past her. She stepped inside and looked around. The room was dark except for a single light flickering above the far corner. Boxes were scattered everywhere. Old tools and broken drones lay on the floor. But none of that mattered because something was moving near the wall. She walked closer, her footsteps slow and quiet. Then she saw it and her heart jumped. Curled on the ground was a small alien creature, no bigger than a big dog, covered in soft gold scales. Its wings were folded tightly against its body. Its tail was wrapped around itself like a frightened child hiding. The creature looked like a dragon from an old storybook, but its body glowed faintly, and its eyes were bright and too intelligent to belong to anything dangerous. It lifted its head and stared at her. Its eyes were full of pain, not anger. Narina froze. She tried not to make any sudden movements. The creature opened its mouth to breathe, but instead of fire or smoke, only a soft whine escaped. That was when she noticed something inside its mouth. Its tooth, one of the large front ones, was cracked and darkened like it had rotted from inside. She felt a sudden wave of sympathy. She had seen broken machines, damaged robots, shattered screens, but she had never seen a creature suffering like this. Her voice came out soft and shaky. "Hey, are you hurt?" The dragon blinked slowly, almost like it understood her question. It tried to shift its head, but the pain made it stop and whine again. Narina took one small step forward. The creature did not growl or threaten her. Instead, it lowered its head a little as if asking for help. Narina felt something warm in her chest. It was strange because she knew she should be scared. This was an alien species. No one knew anything about it. But instead of fear, she felt protective. She crouched down gently, keeping her hands where the creature could see them. "It's okay," she whispered. "I won't hurt you." The dragon breathed out slowly, its body trembling. Narina leaned in a little more and studied the cracked tooth. She had fixed broken machines with worse cracks than this. She knew how to handle tools, how to seal damage, how to clean delicate parts. But this was not metal or plastic. This was a living creature. Still, when she looked into its eyes, she saw trust. Or maybe hope. Or maybe both. She reached into her small tool pouch and pulled out her scanner. When she turned it on, the light glowed a soft blue. The dragon flinched at first, but then relaxed when it realized she was not harming it. Narina moved the scanner gently near its mouth, watching the readings. The tooth was badly damaged. It must have been hurting for a long time. "You poor thing," she whispered. "No wonder you ran here." She did not know where it came from or why it was alone in the cargo bay. She only knew one thing: it needed help, and she was the only one here. The dragon lowered its head even more, almost touching the floor. Narina slowly placed her hand near its cheek, not touching, just close enough for it to see her intention. The creature leaned slightly toward her hand, a sign that it trusted her. Narina felt her heart beat faster, but not from fear. From something new. Something important. She whispered, "Don't worry. I can try to help you. I'll fix your tooth. I promise." The creature closed its eyes as if relieved. And in that quiet, shadow-filled cargo bay, with alarms still flashing outside, a strange and powerful connection began, one that would change everything. Narina moved slowly, keeping her voice calm and gentle as she spoke to the small golden dragon. The creature watched her with wide eyes, still trembling from pain but no longer afraid of her. She knew she had to work carefully. One wrong move could hurt it more. But she could also see that it trusted her, and that gave her courage she didn't know she had. She opened her little repair kit on the floor. Most tools inside were meant for machines, not living creatures. But some were gentle enough. She picked a tiny scanner, a soft cleaning gel, a microlight, and a small tube of healing compound. She placed them beside her and looked up at the dragon. "I need to see your tooth again," she said softly. "Can you open your mouth for me?" The dragon hesitated. Then, slowly it opened its mouth. Narina leaned in, careful not to touch the sharp teeth. Even damaged, they were huge compared to her small fingers. The cracked tooth looked even worse up close. It had dark lines running across it, and a faint black spot at the base where infection had begun. She felt her chest tighten in sympathy. "You must have been hurting for a long time," she whispered. The dragon made a soft sound like a tiny whimper. It lowered its wings as if trying to relax. Narina turned on her microlight and shined it gently inside the mouth. The dragon blinked at the brightness but didn't move away. She lifted her scanner and checked the readings. The decay had spread, but not too deeply. She could clean it. She could seal the crack. It was risky, but it could work. "Okay," she said softly. "I think I can fix this." She took a gentle cleaning tool from her box. It was mostly used for delicate circuits, but she could control its pressure. She dipped it into the soft cleaning gel. The gel shimmered in a faint blue color. She leaned closer and said quietly, "This might feel a little cold." The dragon tensed as she touched the damaged area with the gel. Its wings twitched. Its tail curled tighter. But it didn't pull away. Narina worked slowly, cleaning around the tooth with soft strokes. She kept talking to keep the dragon calm. "You're doing great," she whispered. "Just a little more. I promise I'll be gentle." The gel began to soften the damaged surface. Narina wiped away a small dark patch and felt the tooth smooth beneath her tool. She took her time. Every move was careful. Every touch was light. The dragon breathed unevenly at first, then slowly settled into calmer breaths. After several long minutes, she sat back and wiped her forehead. "Okay. That part is done." She smiled a little. "You're a very brave dragon." The creature made a soft, low sound that almost sounded like a purr. It tilted its head slightly toward her, as if thanking her. Narina then picked up the small tube of healing compound. It glowed faintly. Humans had invented it to repair cracks in alien armor plates, but it was safe for organic material too. She had checked that earlier on the scanner. The compound activated with warmth, bonding to damaged surfaces and strengthening them. "This might feel warm," she said softly. "But it won't hurt." She squeezed a tiny amount of the glowing compound onto her tool and leaned forward again. She touched it to the crack in the tooth. The effect was immediate. The compound spread like liquid light, filling the crack and sealing the damaged area. The dragon made a startled sound, but not from pain. The warmth was soothing, almost comforting. Narina continued applying the compound until the entire crack was sealed. The dark spot at the base brightened as the compound spread deeper, cleaning the infection. When she stepped back, the once dark tooth now glowed gently as if reborn. "There," she whispered. "I fixed it. You should feel better soon." The dragon blinked at her. Its eyes looked clearer now. It slowly closed its mouth and moved its jaw carefully, testing the tooth. Then, to her surprise, it shifted its body and nudged its head gently against her arm. The touch was warm and soft. Narina froze, shocked for a moment, then smiled and lifted her hand. She placed it lightly on its cheek, the soft scales warm beneath her fingers. The dragon leaned into her touch, its golden glow brightening just a little. "You're welcome," she whispered. The creature curled its tail around itself, but this time not in fear, more like comfort. It stretched its wings slightly, showing it was no longer in pain. Narina felt relief wash over her. She had actually helped an alien dragon. She had fixed its tooth. She had earned its trust. She cleaned up her tools, still feeling the dragon's eyes on her. When she looked back, it was watching her with something new in its expression. Not just relief. Not just curiosity. Something deeper. Something like gratitude. Narina sat quietly beside it on the cold floor, feeling strangely peaceful. She whispered, "You're going to be okay now." The dragon lowered its head next to her, its warm breath brushing her arm. In that quiet moment she understood something important. This creature was no longer just a stranger. It was beginning to trust her. And that trust was the start of something she could not yet understand. But she knew one thing for sure: she had not only fixed a tooth, she had started a bond. After Narina fixed the dragon's tooth, the cargo bay felt strangely quiet, almost peaceful. The little golden creature rested with its head on the floor, breathing softly. Narina waited beside it, unsure what would happen next. She didn't want to scare it by standing up too fast or walking away. She simply sat there, watching its wings rise and fall with each calm breath. After a few minutes, the dragon slowly lifted its head. Its eyes looked brighter now. The pain was gone, and Narina could see a soft shine in its gaze, like warm light reflecting off water. She smiled nervously. "Feeling better?" she asked in a small voice. The dragon blinked once, then rose to its feet. It stretched its wings, testing them carefully. Narina's heart raced. If it decided to fly away, she would let it. It wasn't hers to keep. She had only fixed its tooth. That was all. But instead of leaving, the dragon took one slow step toward her. Then another. Its tail slid softly across the floor, and it lowered its head until its nose touched her knee. Narina froze. She didn't expect this. She had helped it because it was in pain, not because she wanted a reward. But the creature leaned its head gently against her, warm and glowing faintly. "You trust me?" she whispered. The dragon exhaled softly like a sigh. Narina lifted her shaky hand and placed it on its cheek. The soft scales felt warm under her skin. The dragon leaned into her touch more, and its tail wrapped slightly around her side in a gentle circle. The gesture was so unexpected that she laughed quietly. "You're really sweet," she whispered. From that moment the bond began. When Narina stood up, the dragon stood up with her. When she walked toward the hallway, it followed, its claws clicking lightly against the floor. She looked back several times, not believing it was actually walking with her. "You don't have to come," she said. "You're free, you know." But the dragon followed anyway, staying close to her side like a loyal companion. As they walked through the station hallways, the alarms had stopped, and people were slowly leaving the shelters. When they saw the dragon behind her, they gasped and backed away. Some pointed. Some whispered. A few even raised tools like shields. Narina quickly stepped in front of the dragon. "It's okay," she called out. "He's not dangerous. He was hurt and I fixed his tooth." She said it with a shaky voice, hoping they would believe her. The dragon lowered its head behind her, almost hiding like a shy child. Narina felt protective now more than afraid. She spread her arms slightly and stood firm. "He's not going to hurt anyone," she repeated. The station leader arrived with a confused expression. "Narina, what exactly did you bring out of the cargo bay?" She turned and placed her hand gently on the dragon's snout. "He was in pain," she said simply. "So I helped him. That's all." The leader stared at the glowing creature. "And now he follows you?" Narina nodded. "I think he feels safe with me." And strangely it was true. Over the next few days the dragon, whom Narina finally named Solon, never left her side. When she went to the workshop, Solon lay beside her table watching her fix broken drones. When she ate, Solon sat quietly near her feet, curling his tail around her chair. When she slept in her small room, Solon rested outside her door, guarding her like it was his duty. Everyone on the station adjusted slowly. Some were frightened at first, but when they saw that Solon never growled or attacked, they relaxed a little. He only followed Narina. He only listened to her soft words. He only responded to her gentle touch. Narina noticed that Solon was curious about everything she did. When she repaired machines, he tilted his head and watched closely, as if trying to understand human tools. Sometimes he nudged her when she dropped a screw or tapped her shoulder when she looked tired. His behavior was strange, almost intelligent, as if he understood more than she expected. One night, she sat with Solon near the big observation window. Stars stretched across the dark sky like silver dust. Solon stared at them for a long time. His eyes glowed softly, reflecting the starfield. Narina watched him quietly. "Do you miss your home?" she asked in a soft voice. Solon looked at her. Then he lowered his head and touched his forehead gently to her chest, right where her heart was. The warm glow from his scales brightened for a moment. Narina felt a strange warmth spread through her. Not fear. Not uncertainty. Something deeper. Something that told her he didn't follow her because he was lost. He followed her because he trusted her. She placed her hand on the top of his head and whispered, "You're not alone anymore." Solon curled his tail around her legs in a gentle embrace. And in that quiet moment in the starlit room, Narina understood the truth. She had not just healed a dragon's tooth. She had formed a bond that was rare, powerful, and completely unexpected. A bond that was only growing stronger. The quiet days on the station did not last long. Narina had felt something strange in the air ever since Solon began staying beside her. Sometimes he lifted his head suddenly as if hearing a faraway voice. Sometimes his scales flickered with a brighter glow, like a signal she could not understand. She wondered if he was waiting for someone, or if someone was looking for him. One evening, she was in the workshop fixing a broken drone while Solon slept beside her with his wings folded like a blanket. Suddenly the lights in the station flickered. At first, Narina thought it was a normal power issue. But then the ground vibrated under her feet. Tools rattled on her table. Solon woke instantly, his eyes wide and alert. Narina touched his cheek. What's wrong? Solon didn't answer, of course. But he looked toward the observation window as if something outside was calling him. His tail curled tightly. His wings twitched with tension. A loud alarm echoed through the halls. The station leader's voice followed from the speakers. All personnel move away from windows. A large unknown vessel has appeared outside the station. Repeat, move away at once. People rushed out of rooms and ran through the corridors. Narina stood still, her heart pounding. Solon stood protectively in front of her, spreading his wings slightly. She whispered, "Is this because of you?" Solon lowered his head, confirming what she already suspected. Curiosity pushed her forward. Instead of running to shelter, she hurried toward the observation deck. Solon stayed close, walking with steady, careful steps. When they arrived, several crew members gasped and moved away from the window. The space outside was dark except for one enormous shape, a ship unlike anything Narina had ever seen. It was huge, stretching across the stars like a floating mountain. Its surface shimmered with golden scales that reflected the starlight. It did not look like metal. It looked alive. Narina whispered, "It looks like a giant dragon." The ship slowly shifted, revealing glowing symbols along its hull. Then a soft beam of light extended from the vessel toward the station, not as a weapon, but like a bridge made of gold energy. Everyone held their breath. A moment later, a hologram burst into the air in front of them. A towering dragon-like figure appeared, with wings that shimmered like galaxies and eyes that glowed with ancient wisdom. It was taller than any creature Narina had ever seen, but its presence felt calm, controlled. The crew backed away in fear. Narina stood frozen. Solon stepped forward. The hologram's head turned down to look at the small dragon. A long silence filled the room. Then the large figure spoke, its voice echoing like distant thunder but gentle at the same time. "You survived." Narina blinked. She didn't expect the alien leader to speak their language. The hologram looked around at the humans. Who cared for this hatchling? Narina felt her cheeks warm. She stepped forward slowly, her voice shaking. I did." Every crew member stared at her in shock. The giant dragon turned its glowing eyes on her. "You healed him." Narina swallowed hard. "He was hurt. His tooth was decayed. I cleaned it and fixed the crack." The hologram's expression changed, as if surprised. It lowered its head slightly, almost like a respectful gesture. "No human has ever touched one of our hatchlings. They would usually flee from you. Yet he allowed your hands near his mouth, near his fangs. That means he trusts you." Solon walked to Narina and pressed his head against her arm. The golden glow from his scales brightened, filling the room with warm light. The hologram watched with something like disbelief. "He chooses you," the leader said softly. "A Dracorian hatchling does not choose lightly." Narina looked down at Solon, confused. "Choose me for what?" The hologram's wings spread wide behind it. "For lifelong trust. For protection. For companionship. For bond." The leader's voice grew quieter. "You have done something no human has done in our history. You showed kindness without expecting anything in return." Narina shook her head. "I just wanted to help. He was in pain. And that," the leader said, "is what makes humans dangerous and extraordinary." The room fell silent. The leader continued, "This hatchling belongs to our royal line. He was lost in an accident. We searched many solar cycles for him. We feared he died in the void." Solon made a soft sound and stepped closer to Narina. Narina pressed her hand against his warm scales. She felt his fear and relief all at once. The hologram bowed its head again, deeper this time. "For saving our future sovereign, we owe you a debt." Narina felt her heart thump. She didn't want a reward. She only wanted Solon to be safe. She whispered, "He's welcome to stay with you, if that's what he wants." Solon suddenly pushed his head gently against her side and wrapped his tail around her leg. The gesture was clear. He didn't want to leave. The leader saw this and sighed softly. He has chosen. A bond formed by choice cannot be broken. Narina looked down at Solon, who gazed back at her with warm, glowing eyes. She felt her chest tighten with emotion. The leader's voice softened. "Human, you are now part of our story." The golden ship outside dimmed its lights slightly as if bowing too. And in that moment, Narina understood everything had changed, not just for her but for the entire galaxy. The next morning felt different on the station. The lights seemed softer, the air felt lighter, and everyone walked with quieter footsteps. The giant golden ship still drifted calmly outside, like a silent guardian in the dark space. No one dared to attack it and no one wanted to. Everyone already understood that the ship was not here for war. It was here because of Solon, and because of Narina. She woke up early, rubbing her eyes as she stepped into the hallway. Solon was waiting right outside her door, curled into a warm golden circle. The moment he saw her, he lifted his head and made a soft sound, something like a gentle chirp. Narina smiled and knelt beside him. "Good morning," she said softly, touching his cheek. Solon closed his eyes and leaned into her hand. His scales glowed faintly, showing his happiness. The bond between them felt stronger, almost like an invisible thread connecting their hearts. As they walked together through the station, people watched them with a mixture of awe and respect. Some still looked nervous, but most were simply amazed at how calm the dragon was around Narina. A few crew members even waved at Solon. The dragon blinked at them politely, then moved closer to Narina as if she were his safe point. Narina felt shy whenever people stared, but she tried her best to stay normal. She still fixed machines, still worked in the workshop, and still carried her little toolkit everywhere. The only difference was that now she had a glowing dragon sitting beside her like a giant golden cat. Later in the afternoon, the station leader called her to the main deck. The view of the massive Dracorian ship filled the window. When Narina stepped forward, the leader spoke gently. "The Dracorian sovereigns want to communicate again," he said. "I think they want to talk to you." Her heart skipped a beat. Solon made a soft rumble as if telling her it was okay. Narina nodded nervously, and the leader activated the signal. A moment later, the giant hologram of the Dracorian leader appeared again. Its wings were folded and its gaze was calm. "Human Narina," the leader said, lowering its massive head. "We have watched your kindness. We have seen how gently you treat our hatchling. We wish to offer a bond of peace between our species." Narina blinked, unsure if she heard correctly. "Peace? With humans?" The leader nodded. "Yes. Our people have long feared humans. Your species fights fiercely. You survive in impossible places. But you showed something we have not seen before. You showed softness toward a creature that could have harmed you." Narina looked at Solon, who stared at her with bright, trusting eyes. She whispered, "He didn't want to hurt me. He was just scared and in pain." "And you helped him," the leader replied. "Not for power. Not for reward. You helped him because it was right." The hologram's wings shimmered gently. "We wish to learn from that." Narina felt her throat tighten. She was just a small repair girl. She never imagined she would be speaking to an alien leader, much less forming peace between species. Her hands shook slightly, but Solon placed his head gently on her arm, steadying her. The leader continued, "Solon chooses you. As long as he chooses to stay with you, our people will honor your world. We will protect it. We will stand beside humans." The crew around Narina gasped. The station leader looked shocked. An alliance with such a powerful species could change everything for humanity. Narina took a deep breath. "Then, I'm honored," she said quietly. "And I promise I'll always take care of him." The leader's eyes softened. "We know you will. He trusts you more than anyone." The hologram faded slowly, leaving the room quiet again. Narina looked down at Solon. "You heard that, right? You're making history." Solon lifted his head proudly and let out a soft huff, as if saying he already knew. The days after that were full of new beginnings. The Dracorian ship stayed close, sending peaceful signals and exchanging information with humans. Scientists studied Solon, only with Narina's permission and always gently, to understand more about his species. The dragon grew healthier each day, his wings shimmering brighter, his energy returning. One evening, Narina took Solon to the observation deck. The stars glowed like tiny candles in the sky. Solon spread his wings slowly, testing them. He hadn't flown since she found him. "You can try," she whispered. "I'll be right here." Solon stepped forward and opened his wings fully. The glow around him brightened, covering the room in gold. With a soft push of his feet, he lifted into the air. His wings caught the light, and he soared gently around the deck, flying in slow circles. Narina watched with tears in her eyes. "You're beautiful," she whispered. Solon landed in front of her and nudged her with joy. She laughed and hugged his warm neck. He wrapped his tail around her gently, almost like returning the hug. In that moment, Narina realized something important. She didn't just save a dragon. She changed her life. She changed Solon's future. And maybe, she changed the future of two worlds. A new beginning had truly started. One built on trust, kindness, and a simple act of healing that had reached farther than she could ever imagine.